Hi, it's Beth here. Finally, this December magazine, Home and Bathrobe, is here, episode 276. I know you've been waiting for it. Well, it's early. You're probably surprised. Actually, I usually make you wait for it. It's a couple of days late, but I'm excited because I've got some ideas for once. One idea is the cover, if there were a cover of this magazine, would be that beautiful Coca-Cola Santa Claus from the 1930s. Oh my gosh, that's Santa. So that would be the cover if we had a cover. The second thing I want to talk about is my neighborhood is gentrifying. All of Austin is gentrifying. And professional lighting is happening all over. And it's so boring. Everything's perfect. I remember one year we let Matt go outside when he was in the 3rd grade with all the lights to see what he'd come up with. And it stopped traffic. It looked like definitely there were problems in that home, but it was so creative. So I want you to just let your creative, let yourself go. Stop looking at Pinterest and all that stuff. It's so boring. Everybody's perfect. Who needs it? I'm going to table the contents. Of course, Diane is gone. She's not my editor at large. She's my editor who's left. So I'm on my own. It's not as good. It's still great, but it's not as good. So I'm going to start with the horoscopes again, because I'm tabling the contents again, because who cares? Okay, this is your horoscope's best and worst traits. Let's just cut to the chase. Let's forget about meeting strangers and traveling and all those things that just aren't happening. Okay, and everybody's wearing a mask. You're never going to see anybody tall, dark, and handsome. You can't tell. So let's just go best worst. Taurus, best trait, they're loyal as hell. That's what it says. I'm not cursing. Worst trait, they can be overly indulgent. This guy's eating an entire turkey. I don't think that's so bad. Gemini, best trait, they're energetic and enthusiastic nature. Worst trait, they can be two-faced and gossipy. Ooh. Cancer, best trait, they're extremely maternal and caring. Worst trait, they can be too emotional for others to handle. Well, that is true. Okay, Leo, best trait, they're friendly and charismatic nature. Yes. Worst trait, their inability to control their impulses. Oh my gosh, that could be true of a Leo I know. Okay, Virgo, best trait, being extremely talented at literally everything. Worst trait, they're overly critical of themselves. That is so interesting. They're perfect at everything, and they're critical of themselves. Gosh, everybody's got so many problems. Libra, best trait, their sense of balance and fairness. Worst trait, their indecisiveness. Of course, this is like your best trait is your worst trait. Oh my God, this is so good. Best trait for Scorpio, they are full of passion. Ooh. Worst trait, their ability to be moody naturally. Sagittarius, best trait, sense of independence. Worst trait, their lack of emotion. Gee, I don't know that, if that one's true. Capricorn, best trait, their ambition and resourcefulness. Worst trait, their ability to come across as cold. And condescending. Ew. Aquarius, best trait, their humanitarian drive. I don't know if that means they drive a electric car. I'm not sure. Okay, the worst trait, their ability to be distant and stubborn. They're distant and stubborn. Okay, Pisces, their imagination and creativity. Worst trait, they're overly sensitive. Well, I don't know what you thought, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Because really, I can't predict your future. I mean, there is no future. We're just getting by, okay? So maybe next month I'll go back to regular horoscopes. I'm not sure. But this month is Christmas, so we've got a shot at happiness. Okay, here's a great Christmas idea. The greatest I've ever heard. Okay, let's say you've got children or you've got grandchildren, and one of them is kind of on the fence about Santa Claus, right? So Christmas Eve, after they all go to sleep, you get out the ladder and you put on the roof a present for this boy, one that he really, really wanted. Christmas morning, they open all the gifts, and just like Ralphie, he doesn't get his rifle. You put garbage on your front lawn. You say to your son or your daughter, whatever sex this is that's having a little trouble believing, could you help me in the front yard? I got to pick up this trash. You go out in the front yard. You can see the present. It's hanging off right by the front door. They look around. They see the present on the roof. They go, what is that? Dad does, I don't know. You go up on the roof, and it's a present, and it's got a little ding in the box. Santa Claus dropped it. I love that. And it's for him, and it's what he wanted. I just think that would give him another year, maybe. Okay, so that's a great one. Okay, this one, not for everybody, but I'm into aromatherapy, and they're coming out with some new scented candles like Norfolk Pine, Christmas, sugar cookies, all this, but they're called Strong Scent. Get them. They last forever. They're so much better than this other watery stuff. And it's not goopy for your furniture. It's a more, oh my gosh, intense smell. The thing that I love about it is 1 hour later, it's still there. It just gives me hope. So try that. Okay. So then I went to Robes because I drove by this store that we have in Austin. It's like a department store, and it's not Macy's, but it's something like Macy's. Anyway, in the front window, the showcase window before you go in the front door, on the right side, a woman in a bathrobe with fuzzy slippers, and she was glamorous. I never in my entire life thought that we'd make it to a store window, but there we were. Okay, so I went and I looked up most glamorous robes. Okay, there's one by Delish, which is a cute name for a company, and it was $700. I asked my husband to look at it. He looked at it and he said, yuck. So then I went to the most glamorous loungewear by Amarol. That was $900. I was like, Kit, what do you think of this? He said, yuck. So then I went to the sexiest robe. It was $300. It was see-through. I didn't ask my husband's opinion on that one, but she did look cold. So, easy decorations, I got some. Okay, so I buy a real Christmas tree. Maybe you buy a real wreath or something. Take off on the back of the tree or where the wreath is right by the door, some of those nice little piney needle things, whatever you call them, sprays of pine, okay? Put them on your presents. Like you've wrapped a gift, stick a little pine in there. It's pretty. And it looks fresh and it's new and it's lovely. And it's yours anyway, and you were going to throw it out in 2 weeks. So use it. So then that's one. I also have a kumquat tree, which I got because W.C. Fields used to say in his movies, my little kumquat. And I can do it. My little kumquat. You got a cigar in your mouth and it's a thing. I do. It's funny to me, only to me. But that's why I have a kumquat tree, and they bloom at Christmas time. Take off little pieces of any tree you have outside and put it on the edge of your cheese ball or your whatever. Even by your turkey, just put a little natural greenery that you have. You don't have to buy it. Just use what you've got. Take a little thing off your ficus, off the back of your ficus, whatever. Outside, go find something and use what you have for nature. Just use your stuff. Okay, the gourmet section was a little bit rough this month, okay? Because I had a turkey or a ham, it doesn't matter. And Dorothy Parker was asked, what is the definition of eternity? And she said 2 people and a ham. Well, we were stuck with a turkey again. And I looked up what to do with it. Okay. My cousin Paula said that her mother would make a ham, and she would make ham jambalaya with Brussels sprouts. That sounds so disgusting. And she thought it was disgusting, and they had to eat it. I don't want to do that to people. I want to find something. So I looked up stuff, and I found a turkey cake, which is actually so crazy. They use the mashed potatoes for the frosting. They have a layer of yams, stuffing, and turkey. And they make little roses on the top with yams. I'm like, oh my God. This makes me feel so much better about my crazy self. I love that I'm not wanting to do this, that there is something that I say no, and I say no to that. Then they had turkey sushi. I say no to that. Then the Brits do one thing that is kind of interesting because I looked up the recipe and they call it turkey curry. And they do it right after the holiday and they invite their neighbors. And they do it at Christmas time they have a little thing called Wrapping Day or something. And they do it for that. It's not called Wrapping Day. It's called something else. It's not Pancake Day. It's some other thing. Boxing Day. Okay, so they do it for that. But they invite their neighbors and their neighbors have to eat their turkey because they have to be polite. Big casserole. Everybody has to eat your turkey. I'm thinking about that one. So, and the recipe did look good. And I have all those ingredients, which I never use, like coriander. I mean, I don't even know what made me buy it, but I'm dying to use it. So that's that. Okay. So fashion, tough month, like things are tight, not money wise. I'm talking tight fitting clothes. Everything's tight. So I've got these 2 red sweaters that other people have given me for Christmas that I don't wear. I'm going to wear them because they're big. And I'm going to put ornaments from my tree, like little silver, like stars or crosses or little drummer boys or whatever you have on your tree that's kind of flat. Just use a little ribbon and tie it around your neck and you've got this beautiful ornament. But people think it's a necklace or they want to think it's a necklace. They're hoping it's a necklace. That's all. I mean, and change it up every day. Now here's a story. You always put in a story in the Christmas issue, okay? This is funny because it's called A Christmas Memory, and it's by Truman Capote. Now, I would never buy a children's book that was written by Truman Capote. I'd be scared. But this one is very cute. It's his real life story. When he was a little boy, his mom and dad were horrible, and they left him in this house with all these old people, old relatives, and it was very poor. And he became friends with an aunt that was mentally slower. And I had a cousin, Charlie, that had rheumatic fever, and it went up to 110, and his brain was fried. And I loved him. He had a lumberjacket. I mean, who wouldn't love a guy with a lumberjacket when you're 6, right? So this is what this guy had with this, and he called her his friend, but it was his aunt. They would make a fruitcake every year together. It took 4 days. They'd go looking for nuts. They had a ball working on this. They'd go into the woods and get some whiskey from a scary woodsman he was a bootlegger. His name was Ha Ha Jones. And they'd go and they'd talk to him. And he'd always give them more than they needed. So one year, the friend, the old grandmother, drank what was left over. And they both got drunk. Gave it to the kid too. And this was their last Christmas. And now we know why. And they always gave each other kites for Christmas. And he wanted a bicycle, but he never got a bicycle. But they'd fly this kite the day after Christmas, but they got yelled at for getting drunk. So the day of Christmas, because nobody wanted to talk to him, they went to their field where they flew kites, and they had the most wonderful time they have ever had. And she said, "This is heaven." And it was a perfect day. He forgot about the bike, forgot about everything. And then they sent him to military school, which I think in Truman Capote's case probably went over like a lead balloon. And the friend died. And he looked up in the sky and he thought he saw a kite. So that's kind of a sweet story for Truman Capote. It could be worse. It could be worse. So nobody died, which is great. So that's that. Now, I end the episode with what I know for sure, because Oprah does it. And I don't know anything. But I went to go pick up my groceries because we're having them, the store gets them together and then you pick them up outside, right? This is the second time I've seen this guy. His name is Tom T. T-H-O-M, not T-O-M. He's a talented guy. Okay, so he comes out and we'd had a little chat the time before, but this time he comes out. I'm in my old 1996 Jaguar convertible. I love it. It's white with the top up. And I'm texting. And he looks at me and he just says, no. And I'm like, what? And he goes, I usually resent people in white convertible Jaguars. I can't resent you if you're texting, if your top's up on a beautiful day like this. You need to put your top down so I can resent you. I'm like, okay. okay, I put my top down and I looked around and it was a beautiful day. He's like, see? What's the matter with you? What were you thinking? You need to get your head out of that little device. You need to look up at the stars, at the sky, at the clouds, at everything. I'm like, yeah, I need to. I said, he said, what's the matter with you? I said, well, Chris, Thanksgiving is a little hard for me. And he goes, erase it like the Etch-a-Sketch. Just turn it upside down, shake it really hard, and you've got a clean slate. I'm like, oh my God, Tom, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. He said, today's a new day. He said, when I was a kid, I thought I knew everything. Then I grew up, had this huge job, and I didn't know anything. Got rid of the huge job, started looking around. Now I know stuff again. I'm living, and you need to keep your top down. I'm like, Tom, you are correct. You are absolutely correct. You see things. He said, yeah, I just cut my eyes open again. I'm alive again. And you just need to keep your top down. It'll keep you happy. That's what you've got. Use it. I'm like, Tom, I'm coming back next week. I'll be here Tuesday at 1:00 for another session. He's like, I'll be glad to see you. Now you have a nice day. I'm like, yes. Yes. And if you don't have a convertible, get out of the car and look around. He said there are birds and flowers and everything outside. I'm like, okay. Get off your device. I'm like, right, Tom, I'm going to do it. I'm telling you, the top came down and I did get happier. It's a beautiful day. Here it's beautiful. There's something beautiful about wherever you are. I cannot believe that I was doing it. I was in a car on a beautiful day with the top up, texting, not even looking around. I can't live like that. I got to listen to Tom T. Tom T is the visionary. I'm going to come back. He's going to say something else to me next week, I bet. I really see something in this guy's eyes because I can't see his nose and his mouth because he's wearing a mask. But I see a certain, I don't know what it is. He knows something. And I'm going to find out what it is. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you. But until then, just look around. That's what he said. And when you got a bad something happening, the minute you can, even if it takes 3 or 4 days, just turn your Etch-a-Sketch upside down, shake it, and get a new start. It's great. We all had an Etch-a-Sketch. I loved it. You loved it. I want to get another one. I'm going to put it on my Christmas list. But that's brilliant. Get a fresh start. You screwed up your Etch-a-Sketch. You go like this. You get a new start. Start all over with those 2 little dials and give it a go. So, Tom is what I know for sure. And I will be back. And let's just stay sane all month long. Okay? Bed and Bathrobe magazine. No, it's not called that. But it should be because I'm spending a lot of time in my bed. Home and Bathrobe magazine. Really. Remember the Santa Claus picture? It's beautiful this month. Beautiful. In your mind, just close your eyes. You can see it. I can see it. Gorgeous. Green lettering. And that pretty Santa. With the Coke bottle. I don't care. Coke was good. In its day. It had its time. I was a Coke drinker. Okay. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Let's just have a good month. And I will be back. Thanks. Bye-bye.